Canterbury Tales, the Shipman's Tale Summary. There is no prologue to the shipman's tale, but in the epilogue of the Man of Law's tale, the shipman objects to the host's proposal to have the parson go next and demands to tell his story instead. Then he begins. There once was a rich merchant who had a lovely wife and enjoyed entertaining guests. One of their regular guests was a young monk named Sir John, a close friend of the merchant. The merchant invites Sir John to stay for a few days. During the visit, the merchant shuts himself up in his office to work on his business accounts. While he is working, Sir John walks in the garden. The merchant's wife comes out and tells Sir John that the merchant is a neglectful husband. Advancing towards Sir John, she asks him to lend her 100 francs, and he promises he will, holding her close and kissing her. Later, after dinner, Sir John asks the merchant to lend him 100 francs. The merchant willingly agrees, and Sir John sets off for his abbey. While the merchant is off on a business trip, Sir John visits the merchant's wife. He lends the 100 francs to her, and in return, she sleeps with him. After the merchant returns, he makes a friendly visit to Sir John. Sir John remarks that he repaid the merchant's loan, giving the money to the merchant's wife. Later, the merchant asks his wife about the money, and she tells him she spent it on pretty clothes. He asks her to be less extravagant in the future. Analysis. This tale is another fabula with the immorality characteristic of the genre. Its style, plain storytelling without much commentary from the storyteller, is similar to Reeve's story and the Miller story. However, there are a few differences from the Reeve's tale and the Miller's tale that are worth consideration. For one thing, the other man this time is a monk and not young clerk or student. This is in keeping with the characterization of many other clergy in the country tales who seem to lack morals. In addition to the merchant, unlike the carpenter and miller of the previous stories, is a generous and trusting man. In general, the characters in this tale lack the rudeness of the characters in the earlier ones. Business transaction figure prominently in the story. The merchant is consumed with tallying up his accounts, goes off on a business trip, presumably to make some financial deals, and continues to talk mainly of money. After he returns home, his relationship with his wife seems mostly financial. He gives her money to run the household, advises her to be thrifty, and asks her to be more careful with money after he finds out about the loan. For her part, she seems to treat sex as a financial transaction, agreeing to have sex with the monk in order to secure the loan from him and then offering to repay the loan to her husband in bed. The Canterbury Tales, the Prayers Prologue, and the Tale Summary. Harry Bailey now politely calls on the prioress to tell her story, and she agrees. First, she prays and dedicates her story to the Virgin Mary, Jesus' mother. Then she begins. A widow's son, a boy of 7, was a student at a small Christian school. He was a devout child and would say a Hail Mary, a brief prayer to Virgin, anytime he saw an image of Christ's mother. One day at school, he overhears some other children singing a Latin hymn, O Alma Redemptoris. He asks another student to explain the meaning of the song and is told that it is about praying to Mary for help and comfort on our dying day. The boy learns the whole hymn and sings it often in a clear voice. Satan, disliking such innocence and devotion, incites some of the town's Jews to do away with the boy. One day, a hired murderer grabs the boy as he walks down the street, cuts his throat, and throws him into the sewer. The boy's worried mother searches everywhere for him. Finally, she hears his voice singing O Alma Redemptoris from underground and discovers where his dead body is. The boy's body is taken to the nearest abbey, still singing. The guilty men are executed. The dead boy continues to sing throughout his funeral mass, and finally, the abbot asks him how it is possible that he sings even though he is dead. The boy tells him that as he was dying, the mother of Christ appeared to him, placed a grain on his tongue, and told him to sing O Alma Redemptoris until the grain was removed. The abbot then removes the grain and the boy dies peacefully. All of the people gathered are overcome and they weep and give praise to Christ's mother. The boy's body is buried in the abbey. Analysis. Scholars classify this tale as a miracle, an inspirational story for Christians. Many of these miracle stories from outside the Canterbury tales focused on the Virgin Mary and the value of devotion to her. The tales tend to be sentimental and emotionally appealing rather than theological or concerned with church teachings. This tale, like many stories in this genre, features a strongly anti Semitic tone. Though some scholars accept the story's anti Semitism as reflecting Chaucer's own other suggest that prioress, not Jews, are the object of Chaucer's crown in this tale. In General Prologue, Chaucer's description of the prioress gently mocks her vanity and affectedness. Her own over the top prologue, in which she protects her speaking ability in extremely flowery language, makes her seem disingenuous. Her extremely maudlin descriptions of the dead boy, juxtaposed with her vulgar description of the Jewish community, seem melodramatic at best and unhinged at worst. The Prayers Prologue is a prayer to Mary, mirroring the prayers and devotion of the boy in the story she will tell. Clearly, the prioress identifies with and inspiration from the young martyr of the tale. The intervention of supernatural powers is a feature of this story, but the prioress suggests that faith or its opposite are preconditions for such interventions. The Virgin Mary performs a miracle on behalf of deeply devout boy. Likewise, the devil is able to encourage the Jew trickery because their hearts are the vicious nest of Satan. The helplessness and innocence of the boy at the center of this tale supports the Christian idea that God shows his power in the weak and in those who suffer. The words little and small are used repeatedly throughout the tale to describe the child, the school, the child's school book, the child's throat, and so on.